So next up, we're going to revisit a little exercise that I put together for you before using still shots, and we're actually going to revisit this concept because I think it's a great concept for you to get the understanding of keyframes, but we're going to be doing it in a different way. Now, you guys can actually go ahead and download these 3 clips. It's just 3 clips of me sat in my office, on my couch in my office, in 3 different angles. So obviously, back here, we've got it from one side looking, and then it changes to this next clip. They're all 5 seconds, by the way, of me kind of looking like this over my shoulder. You can't really see my face, and then it's just one dead-on shot. And you remember how we actually went about changing the keyframes and improving these shots in the last mini exercise, where we actually just did this kind of method with still images. Now we're doing still shots, and I'm actually going to be showing you an even more professional way of how to improve these with motion, but without losing as much quality as we might have had to sacrifice in the last way that I showed you how to do this, okay? So first off, go ahead and download these from resources and import these 3 clips right here, and you guys can actually follow through with me right now while we work through this, okay? And the way I actually taught you guys to do it last time was a very straight up way, almost the same way that we're going to be doing it now, except for one small detail, and that is I told you guys just to say we wanted to have this zooming in, we would create a keyframe here, and then go here and, for example, do 150 on the scale. However, the only thing about that is the scale here, 100, is the max resolution. So going to 150 puts that over the max resolution, meaning that we're actually sacrificing quality by doing that. So how would we go about having more room to work with in this image without having to sacrifice that quality? And that is very simple. So if we undo that, the difference between these shots here and the still images I had earlier is I shot these on 4K, meaning that if we go up here to sequence and then sequence settings, we can actually see that our frame size is 3,840 pixels by 21,060 pixels. But your default 1080p project would be half of this, 1920 by 1080. So if we actually go ahead and input 1920 by 1080, you can see when we press OK, this is already zoomed in. Now, the reason for that is because it's actually the frame size of this project is half the size of the actual clips. For example, if we turn the scale now to 50, you see that that is actually full screen like it was before, meaning that we have much more room to work with on 100, meaning that at 50, if we go to 100, which would have been the equivalent of going to 200 before when we were actually on 4K, we have sacrificed no quality because there's more to work with here, and we're still going to be able to create that movement via the keyframe. So if we actually just go ahead and turn all of these to 50, okay, because they're all actually on 100, and there's another method you can do by this, so you could just put 50 there, or we could go to one of these clips, for example, they're all quite zoomed in, right-click the clip, make sure you don't right-click the side where it's red right here, that's why that first thing popped up, but right-click the clip till this pops up right here, and just go ahead and press set to frame size, and that's just going to set it to whatever size the sequence settings have been set to. So this is 1920 by 1080 that we have just changed together, and we go ahead and set to frame size, and now all these are going to be at 50, meaning that we actually can zoom them in up to 2 times up to double rather the size of the frame, and we won't lose any quality. So let's actually just go ahead and start animating this. I want to just go ahead and toggle animation on 0 seconds, and then let's go as close as we can to the end. In fact, actually, I might toggle position as well. So toggle position and scale for you guys. Go as close as you can to the end, and let's just go ahead and put this right now on 100, okay? And then we can actually adjust this here to kind of bring me to be right about there. So I want you guys to go ahead and do a similar adjustment that I've just done, then select those 2 keyframes and throw them at the end. And if we give this a play now, it is zooming in on me right here very nicely, and we're actually losing no quality having this zoom right here, where in fact before that would have been a huge quality dip, and we were sacrificing a lot of quality before, even though you might not have realized too heavily, but overall we've done one nice little animation here, and then you guessed it, we now want to have this coming out, okay? So we're going to do one animation of zooming in, then this next animation here, let's go ahead and put toggle scale and toggle position, but drag these two to the end so it finishes on the maximum parameters. And then let's just go ahead and put 100 on that and kind of do the same thing that we did on that last clip by lining me up over here to the left. You see how we've kind of tried to put me down here? Let's do the same thing here at the beginning, but by trying to put me down here to the right, okay? So let's go ahead and throw me down there to the right as much as we can. And that is looking good. If we give this a play now, it's going to be zooming in on my face without losing any quality here. Then it's going to be zooming out like that to show my very messy desk in the background. And now I just want a zoom up. So I believe if this is zoomed out, now we can actually just go ahead and toggle the position and toggle the scale right here. So it tells it that it is 50 and 960 by 540 at the beginning frame. And now we can actually go close to the end, go ahead and pop that on 100, zoom up so we just get the tip of my hood and bring that over so it looks like we're directly centered in the screen. And if we actually just go ahead and drag those to the end, and if we just go ahead and give this a in and out pre-render, okay, which we can easily do. Hold on, I'm just going to reaffirm that by going to sequence, render in and out, render into out rather, and that will render everything that's in and out. Obviously, I haven't set an out point. The out point will just be at the end of the sequence. So right now, this might be rendering a bit too much, but we'll see how it goes right now, and we'll see what it's looking like after this quick render preview. And let's give this a play now. And it's very nice, zooming in on my face, and then it comes back out to reveal my very messy desk right here, and then it's going to be zooming straight back in, and this is an otherwise still sequence that has now been completely amplified using keyframes and using very simplistic, very basic keyframe animation for you guys, where if you followed through, you will have a sequence looking exactly like this, where when originally we had a very boring sequence, which was not moving, just me, you know, sat there looking into the distance, and overall now we've got a very exciting, full of movement, very nice sequence that's 15-second sequence. And if this was all still shots, it's very boring, very stale, very mundane. Now that we've added this nice movement with zero quality loss, we have definitely created a much more entertaining sequence using keyframes.